There are so many cases going to court in today's time saying that their ADHD or dyslexia caused them to act out and cause some level of crime. And they are now actually using this as a legal defense. People are accepting this and people crying out mental illness in every way possible. Is there a clear difference that should be defined here? And should we be handling these differently with our children in the criminal system? Well, stick with me and I will explain the difference, and I will also give you some valuable information in terms of helping a child with the so-called label learning disability and actions to move forward. First and foremost, there is a big difference between learning issues versus an actual mental illness. Let's consider the matter of ADHD versus epilepsy. Epilepsy is a shortage in the nerves in the brain, causing seizures and can create brain damage over time with each seizure. This is defined as a brain or mental illness. But again, no one can say this illness causes them to harm another person. As an epileptic myself, I just need to monitor the damage done through the seizures I incur to ensure I can maintain a normal life. As a human being raised with the basic values of life, I know the difference between right and wrong. So I cannot use this as any excuse for harming another person. When looking at a learning issue like ADHD or dyslexia, which my son has both of, these are differences through learning and have nothing to do with a mental issue, where the brain is not damaged or additional damage can be caused. If you study any of the mental health textbooks, these items are managed. If you study any of the mental health textbooks, these items are not named in the mental health lists and are also managed very differently with the help of occupational health specialists and other specialists in this field. When mental health issues that affect the brain are seen by neurologists, here is where the items come together, because if the learning ability is not managed correctly, the individual starts to suffer from a mental health issue that arises, and this is what needs to be raised and brought to light. See the difference? Keeping in mind, ADHD and dyslexia, as well as autism, are some of the main raised often, but there are some others not commonly known. You've got maternal illness during pregnancy, birth complications that block the flow of oxygen to the baby's brain, injury or illness such as meningitis, visual hearing, verbal or motor handicaps, intellectual issues, emotional disturbances. If you consider any of these carefully, these are not mentally related, but learning related, and needs to be special care to manage with these children to manage the situation. You cannot simply get these children to take a pill and assume these problems are going to disappear. These children need to make a great effort to understand themselves like any other child. Again, starting with their parents and families, giving them love and care from day one, and again for their first 5 years, are key to understanding themselves and their emotions so that they are able to express their feelings. I'm not going to dwell into much on the mental illness, as that's not what today is about. And that is a long subject where people need to stop reaching for mental illness to get away with what they have done in their lives. I will cover this another day. People need to use this a lot more wisely, and our legal system needs to be a lot wiser when they present this as a defense. Real cases should only be considered for this option. People should know difference from right and wrong from an early age, and it should not even be considered. Now, no more on that now. Get back to that some other day. Now, let's put some focus on our children with the learning labels attached. As parents, you can pick up that something is different about your child, and you want to do something, you want to do whatever you can to help them, right? Yes, I knew something was different too, but the specialists, educational therapists all told me I couldn't have my son assessed at such a young age. I was so frustrated. All I can say is go with your gut, parents, and start helping with the process with your child. The next thing is you cannot put your child in a bubble, and you cannot treat your child differently. This will make them feel either inferior or superior to everyone around them. And just a reminder, this whole channel is about preparing your child for the world when you leave. If you treat them differently and don't prepare them for the big world what is going to happen to that child when you are gone. You have to ensure they can look after themselves. You have to make them strong enough to cope in this world, and don't wait until you are at death's door, because they won't cope or manage then. You have to prepare them from a young age. You as a parent need to understand each child is unique, no matter what differences they come with. And if they have challenges such as ADHD, dyslexia, autism, or any other challenges, this just makes your child more unique and has made your child stand out more. It makes it harder, but yes. My son was diagnosed at age 7, and the dinosaur doctor that assessed him after a full 24-hour EEG decided to give him a full prescription page packed full of medication, where the pharmacist begged me to get a second opinion. And thank goodness I did, because then I got one pill for him. My son asked questions, and I explained how his brain worked differently to other children, where his brain was much faster than others. And when he was reading a page, his eyes were on the first word on the page, but his brain was on the last word on the page. So his medication was just going to slow his brain down a bit to help him read. I explained that this was a superpower that some people have, and showed him some of the other people who have excelled in the world that also have the superpower. And he did an experiment. He tried some days with the pill, some days without the pill, and he realized he was better with it. I gave him this choice with the help of his amazing teacher at the time. I didn't lie, I communicated, and I drew out pictures of the neurons in his brain and how the myelin sheath was missing, and the messages were hopping around and were skipping around from neuron to neuron, but the messages were still there. He understood, and I took the time to understand how he learned through images, and this got easier to work with him. School didn't bother making an effort, and I ended up changing his school. But again, as parents are always nervous, this was not the best choice either, and his education went back in time. But being on the bright side, his confidence was boosted, which was sufficient for the time. Remember to like and subscribe if you're getting value from the video, and hit the notification button to be notified when more videos are dropped. My son never thought that he was disabled or had anything wrong with him. He just realized his brain worked differently. And once he was in a different school, he realized that he was not the only one. After the 2 years he was in the other school, I was able to find another school with a much better reputation, and I moved him again. And he started to excel, and the teachers focused on him and his way of learning, and we were able to apply for concessions for the years ahead, and he was able to drop his second language and obtain a scribe and a reader to help him focus on what he had to learn. And this alleviated all his stress through his exams, and he got through his final year with his certification. It was not an easy journey, but he made it, and he realized he could do this when he put his mind to work. So the lesson here: don't make your child feel there is something wrong. Make them realize they have superpowers that many others don't. They need to master these in their own way, but you are there to help understand them. Don't treat any child differently, because they are all the same at the end of the day, and perhaps you need a little different you need a little different teaching method, but they are all intelligent in their own way. But, and it's a big but, they should still have manners, respect, and have chores around the house. You need to just put your foot down a lot more with them, because they lose focus quicker. Give them 2 tasks to do versus 5. Work on this slowly. I still only give my son two tasks at 20. Set expectations and ensure they behave appropriately. Each child is different and has strengths and weaknesses. Whether they are autistic or ADHD, they still excel in something, and you are there to help them find that something that they love and excel in, so they find their niche in the world and they can grow. We don't dwell on a person's weaknesses, as this just makes anyone feel less worthy. Focus on their strengths and make them the king and queen of their castle. This way you are bringing the best out of them, ensuring they have a place in this world without letting anyone feel there is nothing wrong with anyone. And this way, each person will thrive and can continue growing up and live as complete adults in the world when we as parents have left them to be adults in their own right. There are a lot of resources available when you look for it to help you and your child help with visuals, sounds, and feelings to ensure your child is able to work with whatever their abilities are. So do your research and see what works for your child, and never give up, and be patient, because your child could be the next version of Einstein or Richard Branson. Let them flourish and be themselves. Don't forget to grab a copy of my checklist for parents to monitor your parenting areas in the description below. And remember, this will also give you direct access to me, as I'm available for family coaching sessions. We are all human, and when it comes to each of our learning abilities, not disabilities, we all know right from wrong, and we should not be making excuses to succeed in life. Find your strength and go out and make it your mission in life. As Frank Clark said, the most important thing that parents can teach their children is how to get along without them. Finally, the art of communication and helping to understand how your child is feeling is so important, and if we use the right words for this, I have another video that focuses on this specifically. So check this out in the video up here, and I'll see you next time.